I'm playing, I can't sing, but congratulations, guys. We've almost made it through year 2023. A very slow market year, but also very busy because if you're from investment banking, you guys probably have a lot of big offs that led nowhere. If you guys are from private equity, you guys probably looked at a lot of bad assets that also led nowhere. But we're almost there, and today we're going to be doing another LBO modeling video for you guys. And ultimately, I'm going to be reinforcing the strategies that you guys could use to properly execute the LBO modeling test that you guys are going to get from your various private equity firms. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ski Mask Bro. I did 3 years in investment banking, recently made the transition into private equity, and haven't posted in a while, but that's because I've been extremely busy. But honestly, like right now it's the holidays, so things have slowed down. Don't really have any VDRs or memos to do. So what better way to spend my holidays than to make another modeling video for you guys? So that said, we're going to hop straight into it. This is Project Christmas. Obviously, it's been anonymized, but this is based on a case study that I've received from an upper middle market private equity fund over a year ago. And before I begin, I just want to say that this video is going to be faster than my part 1, part 2, part 3. It's still going to be in parts, but it's just going to be a little bit faster because frankly, I don't really have the patience to redo the heavy explanations that I did. So if you guys sort of want like a very introductory course, go back to the first 3 videos that I posted ever on this channel. That will give you guys a very clean setup. We're basically going to be doing the same thing, except with a different set of variables and a different case study. But yeah, we're going to sort of be doing this pretty quickly. You guys can follow along, and I'm just going to be commentating. And also, I'm going to be pitting this PDF as well as the finished model in the download link below, so you guys could also follow along there and download it from whatever drive I decide to upload it into. But yeah, with that said, let's get straight into it. Just take a screenshot of the screen or download a PDF and just follow along. Bring my book 2 here. Again, guys, when you guys are doing PE tests, a lot of the times they're going to give you sort of a page with variables and a prompt, and they're either going to give you a template or built from scratch. When you're prepping for private equity case studies, you're going to be timed, right, a lot of the times. So what you want to do is you just want to sort of, during your prep process, you want to build as many case studies from scratch as possible so you can ultimately get the muscle memory and sort of like learn how to set things up. But right now I'm going to teach you guys a system and show you guys how to do it in a way that, do this modeling test in a way that you guys can execute nearly every one of them the same way, even if variables change around. So with that said, let's get started. You guys see a blank sheet right here. Column AB, Alt HOW, change column width. We're just going to keep it very organized. Highlight column C, go all the way to column K, Alt HOW 12. Let's make some space. Highlight the entire thing, Arial font. Oh, it's already Arial. Make the font size 10. And then you're going to start like this, and you're going to highlight the entire sheet, Control 1, open up your number formatter. We're going to start off with a simple format, so all of your things are the same way. So I'm going to do like this, 0.0, and then have this, and then 0.0, and then like this. If 0, then give me this. So basically, it's going to make all your numbers just look consistent across. Obviously, we have multiples and percentages. We're going to be making a number formatter as well, but you're going to start here. So column F, we're going to start with 2021, highlight all the way to 26, oops, +1, go all the way to 26. Now we're going to change this to general, A, it's going to be forecaster, right, so you're going to be E. Right now we're just sort of setting up the template. And now once you guys have this thing set up, you're going to come here, just pin a nice little title, Project Christmas, highlight, Alt HBO to do a bottom border, Alt WVG to remove grid lines. And yeah, after you guys have this set up, what you're going to do is you're going to do Alt WF and then R to freeze the top row. Because this sheet is, we're going to be building this model on one page, the balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statement. So everything's going to be sort of like aggregated onto one page. So you just want to be able to see dates, so you're not copying and pasting it over and over again, which is going to waste time. So first off, let me look at my PDF. Okay, so you're going to have your transaction assumptions. Again, let's format this properly. You know, a lot of times, like if you're time crunched, a lot of times, like if you're time crunched, modeling tests tends to come out like very messy, which, you know, like they're not going to penalize you for that. I think a lot of times, like when they're checking modeling tests, they're just going to go straight to the IRR. and see if it's correct or near the range of what they're getting. They're going to see if the balance sheet balances. But at the same time, like if you're able to sort of like format this in a very neat way, it's going to get you some points. And also, like some associates are just going to be, who are grading your tests, they might be having a bad day. If they see like a piece of shit with like multiples all over the place, numbers all over the place is messy, they're going to auto ding you, so you never want to lose points on that, right? It's always about sort of like, the modeling test is always a check the box thing, so you would just want to make sure you like check every box and minimize the chances that someone's going to ding you for a bad reason. So that's why things are going to look, I'm formatting things in like a very neat way, which you don't see a lot of times. But again, like the more you do this, the faster you will get, right? So like it's about putting the practice and the preparation up front, and then you can sort of like make this. So again, let me take a look at my assumption set. You're going to have your entry multiple, your exit multiple, your tax rate, your minimum cash balance, your transaction fees, your asset step-up assumption for the Goodwill, your amort years, and your management rollover. So I think these are the primary transaction assumptions that you're set up with. You're going to come to column F. And then before we sort of input the numbers, we're going to do something here called a number formatter, right? So you're going to do 10, copy it through. So you're going to have one number format, right? That's going to be $1. You're going to have one that's going to be a multiple. And you're going to have one that's going to be a percentage. And then we already have this number format everywhere else in the sheet, so you don't need that because it's going to auto-populate. So now what you're going to do is you're also going to need a color formatter. Hard codes in blue. I usually select this one, whichever is like a dark light blue. I don't know what that blue is called, but it's just a very powerful shade of blue. So you're going to have these, and the reason you have this here is, for example, let me see my set of assumptions. Entry multiple, same as the exit multiple, both at 11, tax rate at 25, 0.25. Minimum cash at 2, transaction fees at 5, assets step up at 10%, at more years at 10, and then management rollover at 10, right? So basically, you're going to come here, you're going to copy that for your multiples, and you're going to paste format, right? And then you're going to come here, oops, to this, to the dollar, right? Your min cash, your transaction fees. At more years going to stay 10, that's fine. Your tax rate 25%, asset step up, management rollover. And then once you sort of like do the pick a custom color, you can always come down here and pick it as well. So these are all hard codes. We're going to make them white like that, like blue like that. So after that, you have your entry assumptions. We're going to enter on EBITDA, so you're going to have your entry EBITDA multiple, your 2021 EBITDA, your enterprise value, bold that, sort of drop the column borders. Your entry EBITDA multiple, we're going to calculate that later, so you're going to have, we're going to find it later once we set up the rest of the sheet. Your 2021 EBITDA, oh, I'm so dumb. It's supposed to be this, okay. Your 2021 EBITDA, we're going to calculate that later with the financial forecast assumptions, but then your entry EBITDA multiple is going to be linked up here. And again, Control 1, take that format, layer it here. Ooh, that's going to be your enterprise value. And now your leverage assumptions. Debt type, leverage. I think right now you have a term loan, a revolver, a senior note, and a PIK debt. So yeah, you're going to set these things up. Leverage, you're going to have your dollar amount of leverage, your fee percentage, your fee dollar, at more years. And again, this is, you're going to do this for everything, right? Like even if the variables change, this is how you set up. This is just the best practice. So I remember when I was doing modeling tests right now, back then, like I sort of just remembered every single line that I put. So ultimately it's muscle memory. I also have a completed model that I'm sort of referencing, so that's why it's like a little bit faster. But honestly, like I'm a year out from my recruiting process, so I'm forgetting like my sort of like best practices here and there. So I need a reference. But when I was recruiting, like I'm not a cheater. I hate cheating. So like I won't have something like pulled up on another screen or like referencing other things. Like I'll just sort of like pound this format over and over again until I sort of like remember exactly what to do and ultimately how to set things up. And I just sort of like the moment I get into a modeling test, I just start cranking these out and I just sort of remember every line, every column. It honestly isn't that much work. It takes like a weekend, right? If you spend like, let's say like 48 hours or 24 hours even, right? Like you grind out one modeling test. At first it takes you 3 hours, then it takes you like 2 hours and 1 hour after, and you just keep grinding and you do like 8, like you'll be set. With that said, we have our term loan, our senior note, our PIK debt, right? We have your total debt. So it's all about just setting up these things first before plugging in the numbers. So my leverage is 3 on the term loan, 1.5 on the PIK debt, 1 on the leverage, right? So we're going to format it after, but now my leverage is going to be sort of, the amount of leverage is going to be my leverage multiple times my 2021 EBITDA. And then again, sum everything up here. My fee percentage is 2%, right? Yeah. 0.02. And then my fee dollars is just going to be the amount of debt I raised times the percentage fees. Amortization years is going to be 10. I'm going to link this to my assumptions. And my amort amount is going to be my fees divided by that. I'm going to take my financing fees. Usually you capitalize it and you amortize it over time. So there's an asset that sort of gets a watered down. So now my interest rate, let's see, on my term loan, it's going to be 0.6. We're not going to play around with LIBOR here. A lot of the times, like, they don't really give you the LIBOR amounts, so they just give you a flat rate for simplicity purposes. So I'm just going to do that. And then my principal amortization percentage, only my term loan has it. The rest are 0. And now with that done, I'm just going to go and format. Let's put this, yeah, that makes more sense. And honestly, like, I usually save the formatting for last, but it's just preference. Fees, and then dollar formats, so you can always do that last, as long as you want to format your percentages and your multiples. You want them to have an X and a percentage, but then like for dollars, like, it doesn't really matter if you don't have the dollar sign. You can just do that last if you have time. So right now we have sort of our leverage assumption set up. We're going to go to our sources and uses. Sources, term loans, senior note, PIK debt, total debt. Oops, don't want to highlight the whole row because the other one's going to be uses, right? And then what else is there? So you have your sponsor equity injection, and then you have your management rollover, the total sources. Basically what a management rollover is that a lot of the times, right, like even in PE transactions, when you're buying, like, let's say a private equity ran business or an owner backed business with founders who are sort of like operationally good, you don't really want to replace them, and you want them to keep running the company or be a CEO for a certain amount of time post acquisition. You want them to have skin in the game, right? So they're going to sort of, out of, let's say you sell a company for $100, they roll over 10, right? They're probably rolling over $10. Like most of them, like that's just on a most simple basis. You just want them to have skin in the game, so they're sort of like rolling over their equity stakes, so they're continuing to sort of like grow with the company, so they have incentive to grow it. And also a lot of founders that actually incentivizes them because they get like a quote unquote second bite of the apple. So I give a better explanation in my other videos, but just a little bit crunch for time here. So purchase price of equity, transaction fees, financing fees, minimum cash balance. This is debt-free, cash-free, right? So there's no existing debt on the business, so you're not going to have any refinancing. But if there is, you would just put it like right here. It's just going to be another variable that you ultimately wipe out when you're doing your balance sheet anyways. So for term loan, we obviously don't have any stuff yet, but you just want to set it up, right? Like you link it up here, total debt, you sum it up. Your purchase price of equity is going to be this. Transaction fees, that's already given to you. The assumptions, you're going to link it up here. Your financing fees is going to be the sum of your debt financing. And then your minimum cash balance is given to you. So you're going to call it here 10. Now you have all of your uses. You're going to sum everything up. 7 right now, obviously going to be a lot greater once you get your purchase price, as well as your financing fees. Total sources is going to be your equals to your total uses. Your management rollover is going to be your 10% times your enterprise value. And your sponsor equity injection is going to be your total. It's going to be the plug, right? So it's going to be your total sources minus management rollover minus your debt. That's going to plug you up. So right now it's 7. Now with that said, we're going to move on to doing our Goodwill calculation. And this is like a little complexity that I've added in here because this case study originally didn't really have Goodwill. Most of the time you won't get it, right? But you know, just for good practice's sake, like I think it's good to just know what to do. If they don't have any Goodwill assumptions or asset step-up assumptions, you should just sort of like just ignore it. But you know, it's better to learn more, just learn less, so you're equipped for different scenarios. Like I have seen case studies with Goodwill in it where you're playing around with it, so it's important to know. So again, muscle memory, just sort of like just remember what to do, right? You're always going to start with your purchase. Oh my God, purchase price of equity less your book value of equity. Add your existing Goodwill. Goodwill. And this is going to get you your equity step up. Oh my God. And then afterwards, you're going to be less your write up of assets. And you're going to add your deferred tax liability, which is a consequence of your step up. Pro forma Goodwill. That said, your purchase price of equity is going to be linked to your source. Everything from now on, from this sheet downwards, is going to link back to your sources and uses whenever you need a variable. Less book value of equity, you're going to get that from your balance sheet assumptions. Existing Goodwill, you're going to get that from your balance sheet assumptions. We don't have it yet, so you're going to sum everything up. Write up of your assets. So what you're going to do is you're going to do this times your equity step up times the write up amount. So this is your asset step up times 10%. So it's less, it's going to be negative. And then this DTL is going to be your write up of your assets times it's going to be a tax consequence. So it's going to be that times your tax rate. Sum everything up. Boom. And there you go. And in addition to this, you're going to have 2 more variables, right? Like the write-up of your assets is going to get amortized over time, right? So it's going to be treated as intangibles. So you're going to amortize your intangibles. Because at the end of the day, like when you do an acquisition, whatever sort of like additional value that you purchase that's beyond the book value, it's going to be like your quote-unquote Goodwill, right? In every acquisition, you're sort of marking up the value of the asset because you're paying premium, and essentially this is going to be a portion of that premium. So you're going to have your at-mort years, and then your at-mort amount. So right now, this model, this case study is just assuming that everything is going to amortize for the 10-year period. So you're going to put this like this, you're going to anchor it, and you're also going to drag down because you also need to amortize, or quote-unquote, not amortize, but unwind your deferred tax liability. Right, your deferred tax liability is just basically a source of cash, right? It's just tax that you accrued as a result of writing up your assets, but you don't need to pay it now. You can pay it over time. But then that amount is basically owed to like the government or whatever tax, like whatever jurisdiction you're paying taxes at. But you're not paying it all at once. You can pay it over time. So it's a use of cash. It's a source of cash in the beginning because it's stuff that you owe, but you still have. You're not paying. But over time, your liability decreases, and it sort of like impacts your working capital. It's a use of cash because then cash is flowing out of the business. So you're gonna take your write up, divide by that. Yeah, take your detail, divide by that. I'm gonna put a negative because this write up is a negative right here. You're gonna see it. But yeah, with that said, that's your Goodwill calculations. We've set that up. And yeah, so again, guys, this is part 1 of the video. I'm going to be posting part 2 as well. It's going to be in the link below. So steps of part 2, we're going to be working through the P&L assumptions as well as the balance sheet and the debt schedule. And then part 3, we're going to be doing the returns calculations, which is also going to be a pretty quick video. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and please hit the subscribe button below. It's helped me out. Thank you.